and welcome to my studio. I'm Naomi from Pigeon Art, and today we're going to be making an ironing board. I have only recently bought an iron. I've never owned one for my whole adult life, but because I'm doing more sewing stuff, I have decided that it's time for me to buy an iron. What I don't want is an ironing board. I think they take up room, they're ugly, and I just don't think they're really necessary for me. So I am going to make my own. This is my cutting board, which is going to be an ironing board. Basically, when I bought my desk, one of the drawer sections was not attached, and I decided not to worry about attaching them, and I have been actually using these bits and pieces for different projects. This is part of it, ironing board. I went to the shops on Thursday and I bought some remnant fabrics, so I'll probably be making a top out of this. And I bought this, some cotton wadding. So it's 100% cotton, which I decided it need to be if I'm going to be ironing on this, because cotton can take higher temperatures than other fabrics. So I bought the 100% and 100% cotton. The other thing you can probably see in my background is some, I don't really know what it is, rubber foam sort of thing, which we were using to protect the carpet when Luke had some car parts sitting on top of it. So I want to use that for the bottom of it. It's got that non-slip things on this side. I'm going to probably do a few layers of the cotton wadding so it's a little bit of squishiness like a normal ironing board. Anyway, so I think I'm going to get straight into it, and we'll see how we go about making this. Okay, so here's the plan. This is the size of the board. I'm going to cut the cotton wadding in this shape, and then my cotton lawn, I'm going to cut 2 of those. The fabric will sandwich the 4 layers of wadding, and I will be able to sort of make a fitted sheet by sewing the corners together. Then I'll attach a long strip for the elastic channel around the edge. By putting an elastic channel, that should work like a fitted sheet as well. So basically I'm making a fitted sheet to go around the board that's going to be sort of quilted, as you'll see later. So here I'm cutting up the layers, separating them up. And also doing the same with the rubber. I always think it's better to have too much than not enough, so I went for larger sizes, and I will go and cut them a bit smaller later. It's easier to cut later than it is to add more, so that's the plan. As this is around the time when I realized that having the board right now would be really useful. Could really do with a iron right now. But I actually got to practice and make sure that that was a good amount of wadding by just putting it down and ironing right on top of it. So here I'm sandwiching it, like I mentioned, and doing a little bit of trimming. And apparently my pin versus 4 layers of wadding, the wadding won. I couldn't get the pin in. Why don't you go through? Okay, so I just tried putting a pin through that many layers and impossible. So I'm really hoping I don't have too much trouble with it on my sewing machine, but I am using this one, which I have been told to use this one as opposed to my modern sewing machine if I want to do anything like canvas, thick canvases, leather, that sort of thing, so I might be okay. It's a bit light, too yellow, too dark, or a more olive dark one. I might go with this one. I had to remind myself how to thread this machine. The guy who fixed it for me showed me, and okay, so I still remember, but I will probably do a little video on how to thread these machines just for myself. Oh, there's not enough. Let's do what I can with it then, I guess. I had to cast my mind back to year 9 textiles, where at school we had machines with bobbin cases. I just love the sound of this machine. And here, because I'm a sucker for punishment apparently, I should have stopped because of the wadding bunching up, but I continued, which means that later on I had to do a lot more unpicking than I would have needed to if I'd stopped here, but never mind. Alright, well, this can be the bottom and this can be the top. Here I'm just checking to see that my fitted sheet is working, which it was, and it still fits around the board. It's probably on the larger side, but I fix that later. And now I attached the channel by getting some strips of the fabric and folding it over and pinning it. You know, I did that off camera, but you can see that. It's nothing flash. I didn't, you know, make the channel meet or anything like that because I just don't think it's necessary. It's not something I'm going to be wearing and nobody's going to see the bottom of my board. I really wasn't happy with it at this stage, and the sheet itself, or the wadding, is moving around under my iron, so it's not perfect. It's not very good. Just quickly pause the project and talk about the giveaway. I had said that I would do the giveaway until Christmas. I'm not going to do that anymore just because I only had 2 people comment on my last video. It doesn't matter if people don't want to enter in the giveaway. It's not a big deal, but I don't think it's worth me doing a giveaway if my husband and 1 other person enter in. I've got 2 names here. Please don't be Luke. Please don't be Luke. Okay, it's not. So Spin Whip, I'm going to comment on there and give you my email address for you to contact me and give me your best postal address. I know that's not the safest way to do it. So in the future, if I do this again, I'm gonna have to find a better way to contact people and get their postal address. Okay, so it's the next day. What I did yesterday was unpick. I unpicked the line that went that way just because it created this weird bulge where some of the layers of wadding stay flat against the bottom layer, and then the other 3 would slowly move. It was not going to be a good solution for ironing. And I also tightened this at the back by that much, and I think it sits better there. Now it's still moving along the table, so I still want to use the foam, but 2 things. 1, this goes in more than I anticipated, so I need to make it smaller, and 2, this is also thicker, like taller than I anticipated, so I'll need to put a couple of layers, maybe 3 layers of this foam. That's fine, I've got plenty. Yes, so I wanted the wadding to go around because do, for example, the top of the shoulder, you might want to go over, like this is off, but you know, do this sort of a thing, motion. So I wanted the wadding to go all the way around, just in case. The best option for that would be a tailor's ham, but let's do one project at a time. At this point, I'm not ready to create a tailor's ham, so this is the piece I'd cut for the ironing board. I also did a test with the glue. I'm going to be using this one. It's just a shoe glue. I thought that'd probably be the best for rubber. This is what I use on my lap with my laptop. It is another piece of this desk that isn't on the desk. I considered throwing them out, but I'm using them all. So it's fine. It costs me nothing. I just glued it on. So this is what I'm going to be doing with this one. But I will need to make it smaller. So I think if I cut this one in half, I can use both pieces, and I have an extra offcut here that I can also use. So I think that'll be fine. I don't need to get any more out. It's probably not going to be half and half, but close enough. So I'll glue these two together first, and we'll see how that goes. I don't know how it's going to go with this texture, because this actually has bumps and stuff, but we'll see. This on top, and something heavy on top of that. Okay. And now we play the waiting game, so I'll come back in maybe a couple of hours and see how that has set, hopefully. Actually, I'm wondering if, could we do two at a time? I hate when glue does that. I'm not pressing. You done? Okay. Where was that board? And heavy things on top. All right, see you in a couple of hours. Okay, so it's been a couple of hours. I'm going to glue the foam now glued together to the ironing board. So I'm going to be using this side. I think it'll just probably adhere better because it's a little bit roughed up already. Smells very strong. Funny story, I was on the phone to my sister and I was looking at my computer and using this board yesterday with the laptop on it while I was on the phone, and I'm like, I can smell acetone. Where is it coming from? It was from the board. I guess the glue was still a little bit wet and setting. Went around the whole house trying to work out where the smell was coming from. It was coming from my lap. And now we'll give it another couple of hours. Maybe I might come back to it in a couple of days. Really give it a chance to to dry, set, whatever, and for the smell to dissipate. And yeah, I think we'll have to try it out. I had a few issues while I was making this, but I'm actually happy with it. I have since used it on a project, but I didn't film it, so it's not going to be a video. And it's worked really well. It's really good that it's detachable from the board. I had considered getting one of those staple guns, but when I'm using steam, which is a lot of the time, it gets wet between the board and the cotton wadding, and it's so good that I can take it off, let it dry, and hopefully not allow any mold or that sort of thing to grow. So I'm really happy with that, and it's really easy to store. The iron's still hot, so I will take it out now. It needs to cool down before I put it away.
Safety first, guys.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, feel free to give it a like. It really helps me out. I upload some Sundays with art, DIY and sewing videos, and I hope to see you then. Bye!